Please help me find my son.
We just keep picturing him sitting and watching cartoons waiting for us.
We're doing our best right now to get out there and search for him. We're trying to cooperate and give them everything.
This is 5-year-old Samuel Olson. When he disappeared in the summer of 2021, his desperate father and his girlfriend appeared on TV, pleading for little Samuel to come home. But it was all a ruse. Samuel's parents knew perfectly well where he was, and they had waited 3 weeks to report him missing. What had really happened to Samuel in May of that year? Who took his life, and who got arrested for it? We'll explore these questions and many more in today's video. But before we go on, I must warn you, this case contains sensitive topics. On April 30th, 2021, little Samuel Olson left his school in Houston, Texas, Lily Holbrook Elementary School. His teachers saw him in his usual mood, happy and friendly, like you'd expect any 5-year-old to be.
Your nose is getting a big bed. For your gentleman, you need to buy it for $100. And then your cartoon is coming on my cartoon station.
The last day of school that year was June 3rd, but Samuel never made it to class again after April 30th. On the weekend of May 8th and 9th, Samuel spent the weekend with his paternal grandmother, Tanya. But after that Sunday, Tanya also stopped seeing her grandson. For a while, confusion, but not concern, gravitated around Samuel's disappearance. You see, Samuel had a lot of carers. His dad, Dalton, his girlfriend, Teresa Balboa, his mom, Sarah, who lived in south of Houston, and Tanya. These are just some of the people who spent time with Samuel on a regular basis. Siblings, partners, and roommates made this list even longer. So throughout May 2021, it's likely each of these people was thinking Samuel might be with someone else. However, on May 27th, Teresa Balboa contacted authorities and reported Samuel missing. Officers noted that she, not the boy's parents, made the call. But when they visited Teresa's apartment, Dalton was also there. He said he had no idea where his son might be. However, he said that he suspected Samuel's biological mother, Sarah, might be involved. So a search for Samuel ensued, both around Dalton's Houston home and Sarah's place south of Houston. Meanwhile, Sam's family spoke to the media every day, urging volunteers to help them find the boy and saying how much they missed him.
He is the sweetest, kindest, most loving child. He's so smart. He loves dinosaurs. He can tell you which ones are herbivores and carnivores, and he puts them in the hibiscus trees and lets them eat, and he loves Buzz Lightyear and Woody and Forky, and he's got a really funny personality.
Please help me find my son.
We just keep picturing him sitting and watching cartoons waiting for us.
Dalton's girlfriend Teresa seemed just as desperate as Sam's biological family, but it's easy to be deceived by crocodile tears. When a group of experts analyzed their body language, they concluded not even Dalton was truthful.
The top of his head does not match the bottom of his face in that expression for what should be going on. Those two don't mesh together at all, not even a little bit if you look closely. This is called the glabella, and that's where people usually even frown their brow when they're frustrated, when they're concerned, when they're thinking about something. And that's what's going. We don't even see that with him. We'll see it in a few minutes on a couple other things. We don't even see that on him. It's all up. Everything is up the whole time.
The psychology experts also noted that Dalton was quick to talk about himself and Teresa before they even mentioned Sam.
We're doing our best right now to get out there and search for him. We're trying to cooperate and give them everything.
A desperate parent looking for their child would obviously be cooperative with law enforcement. They wouldn't feel the need to mention it on TV, right? Then, Teresa made a confident claim that Sam's biological mother, Sarah, had taken him.
She just pointed and said, "That's my son." She took him. "Give me my son back." That was it.
So wait, was he pleading for people to help find him, or did she know where he was? The only person who looked truthful on camera was Tanya.
This is Sam. He just turned 6.
But Sam never got to turn 6. In fact, his life was taken just a few days before his birthday. On June 1st, 2021, law enforcement in Houston received an anonymous tip. They should be searching a Best Western hotel room in Jasper, Texas. That evening, officers found Teresa Balboa inside the hotel room. She had a black plastic bag with her. The bag was in a box, and the smell was indescribable. Sam's decomposing body was found inside the bag, and Teresa was arrested and charged with taking his life. Samuel Olson only got to spend 5 years on this earth, and he spent them under the court-ordered supervision of his grandma, Tanya. His father, Dalton, had issues with substance abuse and a record of petty crimes. Dalton's girlfriend, Teresa, had an even worse record: narcotics, DV, losing the custody of her own 2 daughters in 2019. Dalton didn't have custody of Sam either. His mother, Sarah, did, but she hadn't seen her son since the summer of 2020. Dalton had been forcefully keeping Samuel away from her for almost a year. It went even further than this. According to Sarah's lawyer, Marco Gonzalez, Gonzalez accused Dalton Olson of keeping Samuel from his mother and avoiding being served court paperwork that would have ordered him to return the boy to her. After reporting Samuel missing, Balboa initially accused Gonzalez and a man who presented himself as a police officer of taking the boy. Houston law enforcement had received the June 1st tip from 27-year-old Dylan Walker. He was a friend of Teresa, and he had just helped her move Sam's body from Webster to Jasper.
Investigators say Balboa called a friend. The two picked up the foul-smelling tote and drove from Webster to Jasper that night, where they checked into a Best Western hotel. Hours later, on June 1st, that same friend called Crime Stoppers with a tip, and police found Balboa inside the hotel room with the black tote.
Dylan was eventually arrested and charged with tampering of evidence, but that was not the first time the body had been moved. To the surprise of investigators and everyone following the case, Teresa did not live with Dalton. In other words, there was no reason why Samuel should have been staying with her in the first place. Teresa lived with a roommate, Benjamin Rivera. When Benjamin was interrogated, he confessed that Teresa called him on May 10th to tell him that little Samuel had passed away. Benjamin reportedly left work to come home and help Teresa deal with the situation. The two decided to keep Sam in their bathtub for 2 whole days. On May 13th, Benjamin and Teresa wrapped the body in duct tape and put it in a plastic bin. They then took it to a storage unit in Webster. After reporting Sam missing, Teresa decided to move the body again, after which she called Dylan, and Dylan called Crime Stoppers. If it weren't for Dylan, who knows if Sam would have been found. Imagine learning all these facts while still trying to figure out what happened. Why was Sam with Teresa at her apartment? Why would she take his life? And what was his dad hiding?
So unexplainable. Just no reason whatsoever, no motive, and still, there would never be a motive.
Oh my goodness, Melanie, the more details we learn, the more disturbing and disgusting, quite frankly, this case becomes.
Of course, I was talking to a man out here, and he said, I just said a prayer, and I said, well, I'm praying for the family as well. It's kind of sad.
Teresa not only took poor Samuel's life, but she also psyched the officers on his actual mom, Sarah. At the beginning of the investigation, Teresa confidently told the officers that on May 27th at around 7:30 a.m., Sarah turned up at her house with a man dressed as an officer and demanded her son.
She just pointed and said, "That's my son." She took him, "Give me my son back." That was it.
Dalton wasn't at Teresa's place that morning, it was just her. So she said she felt obligated to give Samuel to Sarah. However, she filed a missing person report as she believed Dalton had the right to get his son back. This was a load of bogus. First of all, Sarah had full custody of Sam, yet Dalton had been keeping him away from her. Second of all, after the detectives checked the CCTV footage around Sarah's home, they discovered that Sarah had never left the house that morning, nor was Samuel seen in the area at that time.
The complainant's father told officers that the defendant told him on May 27th that the mother had come and taken custody, all of which was refuted by that surveillance video.
So, in addition to suffering the shock of a missing son, Sarah also endured hours of interrogation and suspicion. Teresa also had hundreds of people search for Samuel and make law enforcement waste days when she knew where Sam was.
Right now, breaking news, Texas EquiSearch volunteers on Houston's southeast side are looking for a 6-year-old boy. His name is Samuel Olson.
And we're going to continue to search until we find him.
Samuel's horrific murder is made worse by the perpetrator's shameless lies.
I can't say where he could be, where he might be, because honestly, we don't know. At this point, we don't know. All we can do is keep searching and doing, everything we've been doing, and we're going to continue to do it.
Teresa Balboa was now in custody, charged with homicide, tampering with evidence, and a long list of stomach-turning charges. Around this time, Teresa's ex-husband Alex spoke to the media about finding out what she had done.
To know that somebody I loved, cared for, did that to a child, it hurts. It scares me.
Alex and Teresa were together for over a decade, and they had 2 daughters together.
I've known that girl for a long time, and I know that she's had problems. I know that she's had a difficult life, but I would never have thought something of this magnitude would ever happen.
Teresa had a record of DV, and this was from the time the 2 were together. And in 2019, 2 years after they split, she lost custody of her 2 girls. It emerged earlier this month that Balboa previously lost custody over her 2 young daughters in 2019 over claims that she was a bad mom. Court records obtained by Click 2 Houston revealed that the girls, now aged 6 and 8, were removed from their mom's care after she failed to show up to court for a custody hearing. So Samuel should have never ended up in her care, not with so many other more responsible adults in his life.
To be dragged around in a bag in a box as if you're just a freaking trophy, that kills me for that little boy. That kills me for that mother. That kills me for that father. If he had nothing to do with it, then that kills me for him as a dad.
Indeed, the investigation concluded that Dalton had not been responsible for Samuel's death. His only mistake was leaving Sam with his girlfriend, knowing her past issues. But is seeing the best in your loved ones or trusting them a mistake? Nevertheless, a $1 million question remains. According to Benjamin, Teresa's roommate, Teresa called him about Sam's passing on May 10th. She only reported Sam missing 17 days later. What did Dalton do all those days? Did he not wonder where his son was? Did he just believe whatever Teresa told him? Teresa was held in jail on a $500,000 bond. Even if she were to make the bond, she would have to wear an ankle bracelet, stay at home, and not be near anyone under the age of 18. As it turns out though, at the time she took Sam's life, she was already out on bond for a DV incident in 2020. Yep, she wasn't just violent towards her ex, Alex, or their daughters. She had tried to asphyxiate Dalton too.
The fact that it's a warrant means that probable cause has already been found by the judge who signed this arrest warrant.
Samuel's autopsy report listed his cause of death as blunt force trauma to the head. Benjamin Rivera, who was also arrested and charged with tampering of evidence, confessed to seeing marks on Sam's body when Teresa called him to the apartment on May 10th. However, bar Teresa, no one knows what really happened that day. This is another heartbreaking side of this case. It's not exactly clear when Sam lost his life, it's not clear how, and it's unclear why Dalton did not report him missing until Teresa did. Samuel shouldn't be a forgotten piece of a foggy story. He should be remembered, honored, and given the justice he deserves. In May 2023, there was an update in his case. Teresa Balboa was finally sentenced for his death.
The woman accused of killing her boyfriend's son is facing a judge today, facing capital murder charges.
Teresa accepted a plea deal and pled guilty to first-degree homicide. She was sentenced to 52 years in prison with the possibility of parole after 26 years. Samuel Olson spoke at the sentencing.
Today she admitted to what she did for 52 years and the chance of parole in 26. My son did not even get 6 years of life, and she still gets a chance at one. This is not justice.
Harris County District Attorney Kim Ogg also said, "This woman robbed the world of a little boy with a big smile and a bright future. And there is no prison sentence long enough for someone like her. We have now guaranteed that she has been held accountable, will serve decades in prison, and can never appeal her sentence. And that is, in small measure, justice." Precisely, in small measure. We might never know what prompted this real-life monster to take Sam's life and devise so many schemes to cover her deed. But we can take solace in knowing she won't be free for a long time and hope that nothing like this will happen to another child. Hey, thanks for watching. Do you know of other similar stories? Let me know in a comment, and don't forget to like and subscribe. See you next time.